As you all know, it's the first anniversary of the sad events of Khan Sheikhoun. That's something the Council will be obviously commemorating and looking at very closely this morning. It is a huge pity that we have not yet managed to get a mechanism to investigate Khan Sheikhoun at the international level, but we will continue to try both in and outside the Council. We send our condolences once more to all the poor people in Syria who have been affected by these horrible weapons. On the subject of chemical weapons, I think many of you will also know that the Russians have called for an Executive Council meeting on the Salisbury incident in the OPCW in The Hague today. Frankly, we think this shows contempt for the OPCW, which is an independent organisation. It hasn't yet completed its testing. We look forward to their results. The United Kingdom is cooperating very closely with the OPCW, and we look to the Russians to do the same.
Ambassador, on Syria, is there anything the United Nations can do to stop the use of chemical weapons?
Well, it's something that we all need to take very seriously and redouble our efforts to try and find a way. They are weapons of mass destruction. One of the reasons the P5 exists is to be the guardians of non-proliferation. So we will be calling on the Russians to try and help us find a way of stopping their use. But the immediate focus will be on accountability. We are exploring all ways of getting that accountability. You will know that it was the Russians who blocked the joint investigative mechanism. So this has deprived us as one obvious international tool. But we will be talking to all our colleagues on the Security Council and in the GA about how best to take this forward.
Ambassador, the SG said in his letter to the Council that the Syrian government in its declaration was not fully clear or operating. Do you know what activities he is referring to, and what are you going to do about it?
I don't know specifically what activities he was referring to, but we will try and get clarity today in the debate in the Security Council, and then we will work out with our colleagues the best way forward.
Have you seen the news of the airstrike that killed 12, including 7 children? I'm wondering, is the Council, do you feel that the Saudi-led coalition is being careful enough in how it's gone through?
I haven't seen the news of that. I think it is apparent, and we have discussed this with our Saudi friends, that there needs to be a political solution to the conflict in Yemen. We support Martin Griffiths, the new special envoy, and his work. I do know that in respect of coalition operations, the Saudi government adheres to international humanitarian law, and we talk to them bilaterally about that, and we have offered them training to enhance their own efforts to that end. But the obvious route forward is an inclusive political process, and we will be discussing Yemen later in the Council in April, and we will look forward to hearing from the new Special Envoy about that.
Ambassador, yesterday and today there was a summit between Turkey, Iran and Russia about Syria. Do you have any comments about that?
I think all I'd say on that is that we need to find a way of bringing this appalling conflict to an end and getting back into the Geneva process. We welcome all efforts that lead to that goal. Unfortunately, the situation on the ground is pulling away from that goal, and some of the countries you just listed bear a responsibility for that. So I think we have a general call that we all need to get back to the Geneva process and rally to the plans that the Secretary-General and Staffan de Mistura are putting forward, and that's the most important priority. You'll also know that we discussed Syria and Eastern Ghouta in the Council last week, and the United Kingdom is ready to help increase humanitarian access and to try and get the UN to be able to provide some protection in terms of registration of civilians to the people there, whether they are fleeing Eastern Ghouta or whether they're staying there. It's very important that we make sure there are no, or at least we mitigate the risk of reprisals, and that's something we'll be concentrating on over the next few weeks. It's not a political point, it's a humanitarian point about the protection of the poor people in Eastern Ghouta.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.